Senator Elizabeth Warren pushing for a major expansion of Social Security benefits just hours before the Democratic primary debate tonight. How are Joe Biden and the rest of the field likely to respond? Joining me now are James Lucier. He's a managing director at Capital Alpha Partners, and CNBC editor-at-large John Harwood, who's at the debate site in Houston. John, let's just begin with the details of this plan, which would increase people's payments by $200 a month.
Everybody, current and future Social Security beneficiaries, would get $200 more a month. That's a pretty big commitment, and the way that Elizabeth Warren would pay for that is with a new payroll tax on incomes over $250,000, 14.8% split between employer and employee. Currently, that payroll tax is capped at around $130,000. She would also introduce a new investment income tax of 14.8%, also on incomes above $250,000. And that raises so much money that in addition to paying for this benefit, it would also, according to Mark Zandi, extend the solvency of Social Security by 19 years. So it's a major proposal. What I'd expect from the other candidates is to embrace lesser proposals, as some of them already have, that is, expanded Social Security benefits that are targeted at low-income beneficiaries, not everyone, as Elizabeth Warren is proposing.
And James, as John said, this would raise a lot of money. It amounts, according to the Times, to a $4.2 trillion tax hike. Even though the cost of this program in its first year would be $150 billion. Why such a mismatch?
Well, the reality is that you can raise an awful lot of money with the payroll tax, and so you need a lot of money to pay for Social Security. We raise so much money from the Social Security payroll tax right now that until basically this decade, the Social Security has offset the size, it has masked the size of the government's deficit. Once that payroll tax surplus each year is drawn down to zero, once we're drawing on the Social Security payroll tax fund, we're going to have to do something pretty drastic and pretty immediate to address the revenue outflow. So one way of doing it is simply to raise taxes on upper income people, raise those taxes substantially, and increase benefits for everyone. But the reality is there's going to be a lot of budget competition for those dollars, given the federal government's other spending priorities.
James, it seems to me that if the moment right now politically is for people who want more benefits, greater security, expansion of Social Security in general, and not cutbacks, that this plan could be quite popular. How do you expect the other candidates and President Trump himself to respond?
Well, it's a bold plan. It's an aggressive plan. It shows that Elizabeth Warren stands for something. I don't really expect anything bold or aggressive from Joe Biden. He's really a nice guy. And are you going to vote for Joe Biden on that basis? I think some people will. But Warren seems to realize that the status quo with respect to Social Security is simply not sustainable.
John, when people focus on the issues that exist with Social Security as it is and have tried for years to say, hey, this needs changes and people shouldn't expect the benefit levels that they've been promised, now the political winds feel like they are shifting the other way.
There's no question about it. And the longer we go in an economy that's producing very disparate outcomes for people at the top and everyone else, you're going to get more of this pressure. And you were right, Kelly. It is very popular, the idea of increasing Social Security benefits. Taxing the rich is also popular in theory. However, when you get into the practicalities in the Congress of actually putting down on paper the scale of tax increases that Elizabeth Warren's talking about, this tax for Social Security, the wealth tax to pay for some of her other programs, the way she wants to pay for Medicare for all, that's an awful lot. It's going to be very difficult to come down. But at a minimum, we have moved off of this notion of a mixed, which we experienced in the Obama administration, of a mixed solution that would involve benefit cuts and tax increases. Now we're talking about benefit increases and bigger tax increases.
Right, and more benefit increases. James, finally, this would be a real problem for business owners who would pay both sides of that payroll tax. I mean, you're talking about them paying $30,000 more a year if they make $200,000.
That's absolutely the case. As I said, the payroll tax does raise an awful lot of money, but at a lot of cost to middle and upper income earners who will be paying considerably more on the basis of that payroll tax. And both the business owners and the investors subject to a special investment tax are going to see a very substantial tax increase.
Yeah, we're not talking about, big business here either. We're talking about, the businesses that dot the country and what a huge impact that could have. Guys, thanks. Appreciate it.